Network. And Lance Zierlein, a man who, well, he's going to pen somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 bios and draft profiles and grades to make sure we all sound smart. And you can plagiarize him and sound smart with all of your friends, because that's what I do, to be honest. Gentlemen, through 2 days, certainly you've talked to a lot of coaches, front office folks, players. How do you suspect the new timing has worked out for everybody?
It's been a different thing that they've had to adjust to, but some of them like it because it's given them a lot of time to kind of reset, take their time with the interviews, and get it right. That part that we talk about being the most important part of the combine, yes, it's altered the workouts, but they really like the time that it's given them to really dig into the prospect.
I've heard ups and downs. I mean, today I heard very positive from one of my buddies who's a personnel exec who said it works out great for him, and he thinks that it really helps a lot of teams get more information, more interviews, more meetings with agents. And so I think it really depends on who you are and what you need out of it. The only concern they have is making sure that this doesn't have an impact on the kids, because ultimately it's the prospects that matter the most.
Well, we know it has certainly had an impact on our viewership. The timing has worked out great for those of you that want to consume the combine. You see it here, 4 to 7 p.m. today. You get those defensive linemen. We'll get it rolling with the 40s, the on-field drills, and then, of course, NFL Scouting Combine primetime starts at 7, and we have got a fantastic linebacker group, and we're going to scratch that surface right now. Bucky, why don't you start with the player you are most excited to see this afternoon and evening?
Kenneth Murray, linebacker from Oklahoma, is a guy that I really have my eye on. And everyone is looking for these run, hit, and chase linebackers, guys that can make plays sideline to sideline. Well, he's arguably the best one in the draft. When you watch him play at Oklahoma, this guy makes a ton of plays. He can blitz, he can come off the edge, does a great job of making tackles, has coverage skills, terrific player. I just want to see him put all that athleticism on display.
Lance?
I'm going to go with the other linebacker, and that's Patrick Queen from LSU. And the guy Bucky just mentioned, Kenneth Murray. Kenneth Murray has blazing speed, but Patrick Queen has serious speed as well. And you can see him range from sideline to sideline. He's got that real triangular build. He's built like an LSU linebacker. It's the next guy up at the new linebacker U. And I think one of the things that really stands out about Patrick Queen is not only his lateral quickness and his ability to shut you down from sideline to sideline, he will step up in the hole and smack you too. So he's not afraid to take on a block. I like his ability. It's just not a huge sample size. That's the only thing.
You mentioned that you were going to go with the other linebacker. Well, I'm going to go with the linebacker, and that is the low-hanging fruit, Isaiah Simmons. He is going to put on a show this afternoon/evening, and it's because he's put on a show his entire career. I think maybe it's because he reminds me so much of Derwin James, where you will be able to play him probably at, 7 or 11 different positions if you ask him to. He is so fast. He hits so hard. He'll sack a quarterback. He'll get you, fill the hole and put a thump on a running back that's trying to come through. And then he's going to use that athleticism to make a spectacular interception. High point of ball. I mean, he is a special, special player.
He is a special player. The thing is, there's a bit of a debate between the scouting community and the coaching community. The scouting community raves about his versatility. The coaching community is trying to figure out, where do we put him? Where does he start? What room does he go to when he shows up in the building? It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
And I think the answer to that question is
just get him there.
Make him one of the 11 and just watch him go out. Right. And I say it because that's what I see with Derwin. That's what they do. They just put him out there, and you look, and he's lined up next to Joey Bosa, rushing a pass for the very next play. He's playing free safety. It is so fun to watch, and I think that's what we're going to see from Isaiah Simmons tonight. All right, let's get to DeAndre Swift, because last night DeAndre, again, we keep talking about putting on a show, and that's exactly what he was able to do. He was your number 1 rated running back for each of you coming in. You mentioned that going into the drills yesterday, and we had a chance to catch up with DeAndre to ask him about his path to Indianapolis in the 2020 Scouting Combine.
DeAndre Swift, running back, University of Georgia.
Terrific run, great speed by Swift.
When I was 6, my first carry went for a 60-yard touchdown. Remember like it was yesterday, that's when I knew I wanted to play this game. It's my happy place.
Oh, what a spin move by DeAndre Swift.
I would say I could play like Christian McCaffrey.
Swift heads to the end zone.
A team that drafted me is going to get a hard worker, somebody that's committed to the process of football, the grind, loves the game of football, a leader and a competitor.
This is what you expect of your superstars.
Georgia has a great history of running backs. Most recent, like Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, and Sonny Michel, who all is having great careers so far in the NFL. It's amazing just to know that you was on the field with them guys just not too long ago. So it kind of gives you a sense of hope, like you're on the right path and definitely can succeed at the next level.
So now we ask the question, which running back helped himself the most as we do make the call, presented by Verizon. Lance, you're just going to roll with your number one guy that somehow did even better.
Yeah, and here's why I'm going to say that. I think what he did was he clearly distanced himself, at least for me, from the other running backs in this draft yesterday. And I'm not just talking about running a sub, 4.540. I'm talking about everything that he did on the field. Everything he did was smooth. Boom, there's the one cut downhill. The feet were clean. The lateral movement was really, really good. He caught the ball well. Not only did he catch it well and look natural with his hands, the ability to catch it, tuck it, and go around the corner. Everything that he did showed that he was the man. So what I'm thinking in terms of how he helped himself the most is I think teams who are on the bubble about whether or not they want to draft a first-round running back, I think he helped push them off that bubble a little bit yesterday.
How about a Bucky? We got
Cam Akers. The buzz coming out of the combine will be about Cam Akers. When I talked to running backs coaches, they knew a little bit about him, but they didn't know that he was this fast. They didn't know that he had these kind of feet in terms of how sweet his feet are in and out of drills. He caught the ball naturally. And so when you start to hear the comparisons to Dalvin Cook and understanding what Dalvin Cook has been able to do in a short time in the National Football League, yeah, the buzz is building around Cam Akers being a legitimate guy who has an opportunity to go early day two, but to make an immediate impact in the National Football League.
I am trying to curry favor with Daniel Jeremiah with my selection here out of Appalachian State, the fine mountaineer Darrington Evans. And where did you guys have him when you came to Indianapolis?
I had him as a what I would call an early 4, but that's a very respectful grade because that means I like him a lot. I just think he didn't have the size of a primary back, but I really liked him a lot. And I'm with you, Monty. He was fantastic.
He was great. I mean, looked great in the drills, looked great catching the ball, turning upfield. And you mentioned, if you're going to be one of those tandem backs, obviously these are the drills that mean the most to you. And he ended up running the second fastest 40. You mentioned the size, 5'11", 200, so one of the lighter backs out there. But certainly I don't think did – well, obviously he didn't do anything to hurt himself, but I would say enhanced certainly what he was able to do and accomplish here in Indianapolis. So 3 running backs there. That was last night. They did it along with the offensive lineman, and that was Make the Call, presented by Verizon. And that brings us to the aforementioned big guys. Shepard Wills came in, number 1 tackle for a handful of folks, and he was able to put numbers to match a lot of that production. Very smooth through the drills, along with Shepard Wills. Also had Andrew Thomas. I know you had a chance to sit with him, Bucky, after the drills. And Andrew Thomas, that's what's funny about this offensive line group. You hear about how deep it is, how talented it is, and depending on which scout or which analyst you're talking to, any one of 5 guys could be their number 1 tackle. I know Andrew Thomas, that is the case with a couple guys out there. But let's get to it and just kind of talk about the biggest offensive line riser from last night, Bucky. What do you got?
Louisville offensive tackle Mekhi Becton. And it was easy. It was easy because you just don't see guys at that size run a 5.10 40. I mean, you just don't see guys move like this. And when you have a big guy that can move like he is able to move and plays with the nastiness that he plays as a mauler brawler on the edge, offensive line coaches get excited. Now, is he the most refined and technically polished of the group? No. But maybe the most athletic? You can make that argument.
And he's certainly the biggest.
Yeah.
And we got to see that up close down here on the field when we were walking around that group. Lance, who you got?
I'm going to go with Ezra Cleveland out of Boise State.
Oh, by the way, shout out, I forgot, TJ Lang with the tweet, giving him
Lord.
a woo Lord.
Yeah.
Can you give me a woo Lord?
Woo Lord.
How about you?
Woo, Lord.
All right, now you can go.
Now I can go with Ezra Cleveland from Boise State. So Ezra Cleveland had a really bad, like a turf toe, had a foot injury for most of the year. It happened after the first game of the year against Fresno State, and it really impacted his tape. And I know his agent told me, watch what happens when he comes out and works out. He ran a sub 540. He was 311 pounds. He did 30 reps on the bench press. So now you tie the strength with the speed. Now, if you want quickness, he had a 7.4 3-cone drill, which is very good for a 3-cone drill. So really, he checked a lot of the workout boxes that you wanted to. And then coaches now have to go back and find out about the tape issues, and they're going to find out what the problems were with his injury. Now you're going to have to bring him in for an individual workout, and let's get our hands on him and see what he looks like now that he's healthy.
Again, I'm going with the easy one, Tristan Wirfs, and talk about putting on a show. He managed to break a bunch of combine records for offensive linemen, post numbers we haven't seen in nearly 20 years, and you see the athleticism there, but I don't know if you can see it on TV. I'm sure you can. just the proportions, the size. You sat with him, Bucky. Lance, you were talking with him for a while. I was right over here when you were having those conversations. And, man, it is just something to see in person, to stand next to recognize the strength, the agility, a wrestler, an exceptional weightlifter. You were talking to him about the snatch and the way they do the snatch at Iowa and how that's helped. And here's Joe Thomas shouting him out, absolutely killing it at NFL Combine right now. And I'm sure it pained the Wisconsin Badger to write at Hawkeye football, but we know how much that tweet, because we talked to him, meant to Tristan to see that and hear that it came from Joe Thomas. I mean, it really was just something that we don't see often.
No, you don't see guys move around like that. And, you know, you talked about it at the very beginning of the segment. Everyone may view this offensive tackle class differently based on what they like at the position. This is a deep position. We've talked about quarterbacks and wide receivers, but the offensive tackle class is one of the best that we've seen in a while.
Yeah, we mentioned the offensive lineman made the rounds, and Mekhi Becton caught up with our Colleen Wolfe.
Hanging out with the speedster, Mekhi Becton from Louisville. Listen, Mekhi, usually we aren't like all over the offensive linemen about their 40, and I mean, everybody is talking about your 40 time, 5.10 official. Got Joe Thomas weighing in on it. I mean, how has this gone for you? How has this experience been?
It's been a huge blessing, because people from our area really don't do things like this, so it's a huge blessing. So especially seeing that, it's surreal.
Has this just been a wild week for you?
I wouldn't say wild. I just took it more as an opportunity. I had fun this week. It was a great week. It wasn't what people said it was going to be. It was way fun. I had a whole lot of fun.
What did people tell you about it?
We were going to be stressed. We were going to be tired. They were just going to do a lot of things to just get us out of whack for the day and just things like that. But I didn't feel that at all this week.
So you came in, you crushed it. All right, outside of the 40, how did everything else go in terms of like the interviews?
Interviews were great. It was great sitting down talking to teams about ball, learning things. They teaching me things, I'm teaching them things. It was great.
I feel like too, I mean, this should maybe be part of the evaluation. Like, I think there should be a dunk contest perhaps at the Combine next year. This is crazy because everybody at the Combine is crazy athletic, but you don't always see a guy your size dunking. I mean, how much has hoops and just like your background kind of helped you out?
I feel like hoops helped me out a lot with my footwork, especially in pass pro and things like that. So it made me real nimble on my feet and light on my feet. So hoops helped me out a lot. Helped me out a lot with that.
Does it blow people's mind when you can dunk?
Yeah, they don't expect a man my size to move like that.
So obviously Louisville went from 2 wins to 8 wins. I mean, that's a massive leap. So what was that change like in the locker room?
It was just, we all wanted it. We didn't want to go through that same 2-10 year again. We all wanted it that year. We just knew we had to go through a job.
I know, too, that you're a fan of Morgan Moses, right?
Yes.
I mean, what are some of the guys in the league? Who are some of the guys in the league that you kind of pattern your game after?
Joe Thomas, Tyrone Smith, just the top tier guys, pretty much. I just watch everybody. So.
Well, I know that nobody really has speed like you. How about this? We have a nice little simulcam here of you going up against Jimmy G, and it's pretty close. And Dwayne Haskins, too. And there you are. I mean, it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, real crazy.
So when you were kind of preparing for this whole experience, what was your biggest focus coming into it?
My 40, pretty much. I knew I was going to shock a lot of people with my 40. A lot of people wasn't expecting me to run like that. I knew I was going to run like that, so it's great to finally show people.
Well, great prep because you nailed it. This here, too, you have kind of mastered, I feel like, this aspect of your game, too, scoring a touchdown. What was this like?
It was great. As you can see in the film, I jumped because, like, it was like a TV timeout. We weren't lined up in, like, the regular huddle. I was, like, in the front of the O-line. So the coach was like, he told his team to, like, go down so they can, like, try to cut me or whatever. So I had peeped that and I had to take a jump.
Okay, so listen, I feel like you're already a pro at this, so I'm going to have you rate other offensive lineman touchdowns, other big man touchdowns out there on a scale of 1 to 10. We're going to watch a couple here and just give it a grade, 1 to 10. So we're going to have our first one here, Vita Vea, all right? I don't know if you remember this one, but here we go.
Yes.
And listen, you don't have to be, you can grade on a curve, you don't have to be an easy grader, no pressure here. What would you give this score?
10.
10, a 10. Wow.
He got
All
the
right.
hands. He caught it. First
Okay.
try.
How about Dennis Kelly here in the AFC Championship game? And this is like big stage.
Yeah, that's.
And he gets it done.
Oh, the celebration too.
Right?
That's definitely a 10.
Well, you started at 10, so it's like.
Hey, I mean, these are good touchdowns.
It
like,
is.
You know what I'm saying?
10.5
like,
maybe?
that's a 10. That's a 10.
Okay,
And
that's
spin.
a 10. How about, let's go to Christian Wilkins. We'll check out his. I know, that is such a good celebration,
Yeah,
too.
that was a great celebration.
Okay, this one against the
Ooh,
Bengals.
is that a one-hand catch?
So it was a little dicey, ended up being a touchdown, though. Feel like he should get dinged a little for that in the scoring
Give him a
department?
9.5. 9.5.
9.5.
Yeah, 9.5.
I want you to be my teacher. I mean, this is awesome. Final one here, okay? Ty Sambrailo. We'll see how he does. Will he get a 10? I don't know. All right, we'll wait for it. A lot of suspense here. We'll run it back one more time, see how it does. All right. And boom. I mean, that was pretty good.
That's and
Right?
Yeah, that's a 10.
What
10.
was your favorite? Which one?
This one.
This one,
Yeah,
right?
'cause
This
he
is the
actually-
most impressive.
Yeah, he actually ran for it.
So what week will you see? Will we see this from you? Like
Hopefully
2,
week 1.
3. All right, week 1. That's awesome. That's great. You're gonna have to have a celebration ready to go because we'll have someone at the combine next year scoring you. Okay.
Okay.
Makai, thank you for stopping by. Good luck. Enjoy the process and go enjoy the rest of your time here in Indy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Potential #1 offensive lineman Makai Becton there. When we return, we'll talk about potential #1 overall pick Chase Young, who is part of this defensive lineman group. We're set to watch in less than an hour on Combine Today, presented by Verizon.
Chase Young.
It's so difficult to block Chase Young regardless of what side he's on. Down he goes. The pocket collapsed. Chase Young got there.
And it's the Road to Vegas, presented by Caesars Palace, and official host of the 2020 NFL Draft. With Bucky Brooks, Lance Zierlein, we discuss what many folks say, and by many, it's almost darn near unanimous, the #1 prospect in the draft. Not the man who's going to go #1 overall, but Chase Young and what makes him so special, Buck.
He has everything that you look for at the position. He's long, he's athletic, he's rangy, he has a great set of skills, he has a good motor that he plays with, and he's productive. When you're looking to pick someone at the top of the board, you want to be able to check off all of those boxes, and you want to be able to envision that prospect being a Hall of Fame caliber player. When I look at Chase Young, his athleticism, performance, and production, he has an opportunity to be a guy that comes in the league and eventually wears the gold jacket.
When you like to do the comps, or you're forced to do the comps,
right.
Lance, can you make one for Chase Young?
Well, it's kind of tricky with him because I think he's got some elements of his game that remind me of Jadeveon Clowney a little bit. And then in other ways, I see some Julius Peppers.
Oh, yeah.
But he's a little more linear. Like, he's not quite as fluid. Like, he's not Myles Garrett, who is real loose and fluid. So I think he's a little different type of body type. But what he is he's that long-levered player who uses his length really effectively to kind of leverage his way around tackles. And one of the things that I think is really impressive is he's not all that talented with his hands yet. And when he gets – and he's already got 16.5 sacks. So when he gets really nice with the hands, I think you're going to see him take his game to the next level. He stair-stepped his production from his freshman season to the sophomore to the junior. That shows growth.
So give me the order, guys. Joey, Nick, the Bosa brothers, and Chase Young. What order would you put those three in? If you were allowed to take any of them, take one of them to start your team, which one would you go with?
I would go with Chase, Joey, then Nick.
Okay.
I believe Chase is the more talented of all three of them. I believe his upside exceeds what they have. Those guys were technical players, but they couldn't match the athleticism that Chase Young has and put it on display.
Agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I've seen what the other guys can do a little bit. So
in the NFL.
So I have to project. I would go probably Joey, Chase, Nick. But they're all so really close.
Should the Redskins, are they overthinking this? Is this a no-brainer for them to walk that card up?
It just depends. It just depends on what they think about the quarterback and the quarterback that they have in the building. Because we saw the Arizona Cardinals go off the grid and do something that no one has done. They had Josh Rosen, who they took as a top 10 pick. They doubled down on the position and took Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray was Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Right.
If they feel like the quarterback position is something they can upgrade, yeah, but otherwise, take Chase Young.
I can add here money. One thing that you want to look at right here is in retro, if you look back at 2014, right, Jadeveon Clowney, who I just mentioned, he was supposed to be the best player. The Texans weren't completely sold on him. If we assume that number one Burrow is locked in, there may be some of the same issues with the Washington Redskins. So I'm not sure if they're as locked in on Chase Young as some of the draft analysts might be. That's the thing you don't know.
And that is the Road to Vegas, presented by Caesars Palace, an official host of the 2020 NFL Draft. Derek Brown is a name that is being mentioned as a top 10 pick and a potential best player performance that we are going to see here on the field because Chase Young is not working out. You see the measurables, 6'5", 326 pounds, nearly 30 reps on the bench, and boy, did he put up some big numbers and impressive tape as the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. And here he is kind of getting ready to get his 40 going and go through the drills. So, Lance, why don't you get us started? I'm sorry, Bucky, you get us started with team fit. Where you think Brown might match up here in the draft?
He would fit in well. Matt Rule's trying to rebuild the culture in Carolina, and the best way you can do it is bring blue-chip players with blue-collar mentalities. That's Derek Brown. Derek Brown is a five-star talent, plays with a nonstop motor. He is everything that you look for in an elite player. The Carolina Panthers would be a perfect fit for him to come in and do his deal.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You think about all the needs, and again, that's a potential quarterback spot depending on what the injury situation is with Cam, but you saw what Matt Rule was able to do and how quickly he was able to do it at Baylor, and when you think of the Big 12, you think of offense, but man, he had that defense operating like we had actually never seen for the Baylor Bears. I mean, they were putting up 65 points, but Rule certainly dedicated to the defensive side of the football, and you're absolutely right, Buck. That would be a perfect fit in Carolina to start his coaching era. What's he got, like a 10-year contract, I think? So why not build around his
going to be there.
Exactly.
Yes.
What do you think?
I love that fit. I'm going to give you another one just to chew on here for fun. How about Jacksonville? I think Jacksonville, when they've been built at their very, very best, the Jacksonville Jaguars have been about defense, and they've been about disrespectful defense. Defenses that want to smack you, and that's what this guy is. He is a disrespectful defensive lineman who really can play even front, odd front. You want a nose, you want a 3, you want a 5 technique. He can do it all. I love his versatility. I love his ability to physically create mismatches that offensive play callers have to scheme around with their blocking schemes, and I think he would help the Jacksonville Jaguars get back to being who they used to be, which was
Duval.
There you go.
That's what they need to be.
That's exactly what they need to be.
And knowing that Marcel Daria is not going to be coming back, so certainly going to have a place for him.
It's kind of a perfect fit, but I don't, if he gets to 9, I might be a little surprised.
I don't remember what team it was against, but one of my favorite highlights of the year is when he is pursuing the quarterback, dumps off the screen on the other side of the field, and manages to track that running back down, sideline to sideline.
So many of them.
It's
he's a dominant player. And I know early we waxed poetic about Chase Young. It's 1A and 1B in my estimation. Chase Young and Derrick Brown. I think you can get just many people that will line up behind Derrick Brown and say that he's the best player in the draft.
his tape was more consistent than Chase Young's this year. But Chase
especially at the end of the year, Chase Young, kind of fell off there those final few games.
But Chase is a freaky pass rusher. Those guys always get the priority bump. But from a tape standpoint, Derrick Brown was consistent week 1 to week 15.
Well, week 1 to week 16 and into the playoffs, we know about consistency from Cam Jordan. He is going to join us as he is going to be part of our coverage here on the field for the defensive linemen, and he'll weigh in on what he looks for in defensive linemen next on Combine Today, presented by Verizon.
Just so you know, I can't.
As we're back on Combine Today, presented by Verizon, the defense set to dominate in the Combine drills this afternoon and evening. We got defensive linemen and linebackers. It'll all get rolling in just, you see the clock there, the countdown clock, over a half hour. And it is time for Next Gen Stats, powered by AWS. And Next Gen Stats developed the draft model using historical combine and statistical data to rank players on a 100-point scale for size, athleticism, and production. You see the running back draft scores of the last 5 drafts. Saquon Barkley there at the top with that 99, a few 98s below it, and a 97. So, Cynthia Freeland, predictive analytics authority that you are, walk us through what you see there on that screen and what we're looking at with this running back class.
Well, remember, the model is all based on using all these different metrics to kind of come up with what we should be predicting, what we should be looking for come draft season. So when you look to see kind of, did Jonathan Taylor's, what did people think coming into it? And he played in the Big Ten, right? So when you're thinking Big Ten, you think maybe not so fast, maybe not quite this burner.
Think Ron Dane.
You think, you probably think Ron Dane, and Ron Dane was tweeting about it, so he was thinking about it too. But then you see him run this 4.39 40, and that first split of sub 1.5, 1.46 on the first 10-yard split. And you're like, okay, maybe that's going to have some scouts go back, rewatch the tape, and say, does he play that fast? Because we already know he's really good at yards after contact, but does he also have that explosiveness that we're really looking for? It kind of gets that double check, where are we going to have him go? Remember, he has so many more rushing yards after contact than the next closest player, 941. That's ridiculous. That's an outrageous number. That's kind of really stands out.
So, Buck, he's a track guy, so you expect the numbers are going to pop out, but everybody said that he was a big winner last night. Like, what stood out for you with Jonathan Taylor?
Well, he caught the ball better, and I think you saw some of the lateral quickness that maybe you couldn't see. And also, it's very, very hard at Wisconsin trying to figure out who do you give the credit to. Do you give the credit to the offensive line or the running back? Because he didn't have a lot of creative runs where he made people miss in the backfield, you just wonder, can he replicate the success that he had at the collegiate level as a pro?
And we mentioned Wisconsin, a very famous Wisconsin alumnus, managed to weigh in. And let's see, eyeball, cloud, fire.
I would have reversed the fire in the cloud. Eyeball, fire, cloud. Because poof, the cloud comes after.
Look how fast he is. Poof.
Right, poof, right?
J.J.
He's
Watt.
blazing, and because the smoke comes after.
Good emoji game, I guess, JJ.
That's what
social media experts over
what he
here,
should have done?
Money and Cynthia.
He should have pulled a gift like a badger, tearing it up. Just like badger. All right. Let's go Clyde Edwards Hilaire. Yes.
Well, the interesting thing here is he didn't run a really fast 40. 4.6, not something that people were like, oh, that's really crazy. But the 1.53 10-yard split was something that had the people that I've been talking to really talking about, hey, I'm going to go take another look at him. We made on the broadcast last night, they made the comparison to Mark Ingram, which is a really fair comparison when you look at all of the other metrics around him, meaning his broad jump of 10.3, his vertical of 39.5. So the overall athleticism and explosion there, because he did force 70 missed tackles on rushes in 2019. It's the most in the SEC. So these have scouts talking. Even though that 40 wasn't blazing, it's still all of the things, all of the metrics taken together that really make him stand out.
Yeah, it's all of those things, but really it's the versatility. It's his ability to catch the ball out the backfield, 50 receptions at LSU, and to be able to anchor and do so many different things. In the National Football League, if you're looking for running backs that can run it inside, outside, and catch the ball out of the backfield, well, he has shown that he did for the national champions.
I said it to Lance last night. I said, he's a national champion, 15-0. You saw how important he was to the success of that team. So to compare him to an undrafted free agent out of Western State in Austin Eckler, but that's kind of I see the possibility.
Totally.
That's the
totally.
game
He's a chess
that
piece.
I see.
Well,
Yes.
Austin Eckler helps everyone characterize him better, right?
Yeah, where, like you said, you can line him up in the slot. You can catch the ball so well out of the backfield. Speaking of running backs, and you mentioned Mark Ingram, he joined Maurice Jones-Drew on the field yesterday during the running back drills, and I do believe we found MJD a partner and Mark Ingram a partner because it was wildly entertaining. Here is a look back at last night.
You've got Mark Ingram of your Baltimore Ravens.
Big trust.
Big. What's up? Good to see y'all too. Good to be here with you.
Hey, Rich, you didn't say big trust though.
RBs.
Hey, Mark, I don't know. Has Mark ever seen the picture? How many thousands of times have you had that picture come across your timeline with you and Derrick Henry?
It flooded my timeline. It flooded me, man. But the dude is 6'4", 250 pounds. Like, what you expect, bro? When I go to regular places, I'm the tallest person in the grocery store, in the mall. I'm like him to other people, you know what I mean? So anybody who keeps sending that to my timeline, come see me, man. I'm about that.
And from the Combine back in the day in 2011, Mark Ingram. Catch up, Mark.
The gait is the same.
Run, Mark, run.
Y'all did a brother dirty right there. Don't do that no more. I ain't run good. I told you that.
It's on him.
Do what I want. Young CEO, sure. Yeah. That's what I hit right there on the end zone, Sally. You feel me?
I can't be a part of this. All right,
Thanks, guys.
Nice work, guys.
Good job.
Appreciate y'all.
We'll chat soon, Mark.
Big trust.
And back with the Chandler High Wolf, the Cal Bear, and New Orleans Saint, former teammate of Mark Ingram, as a matter of fact. So going to follow him out on the field, do some analyzing of the defensive prospects today.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate being back on. I see those clips of my man Mark. I feel like my guy has gotten faster over the years. So that was just a starting point of his running period.
Speaking of faster, Cam Jordan with us here. Let's go back to your combine and let's talk about what you run, like a 4.7, I think, is what you were doing out there.
Unofficially, it was like a 4.69, but I think we finished with the official 4.78, and the 4.78 sort of hurt because I was convinced I was going to run this 4.6 and blow the world out the frame. But yes.
And this was an important, that this process was important for you. The All-Star game, the Senior Bowl, coming through the Combine. By all accounts, everybody said that
look at
it
that
helped
Slim
and
Daddy.
enhanced your draft status. What do you remember about going through it and kind of, playing to win the Combine and win the All-Star circuit?
I remember working my butt off to get to that 287. I finally got on there. I was like, I'm light enough. Like most guys are trying to put on weight. I'm over here like, I want to be a 3-4 defensive end. I want to be able to play 4-3 defensive end. I want to be outside linebacker. I want to be a 3 technique. What can I do? Lose some weight. All right. And I mean, once we got that, I mean, you know, it's always been a blessing to have been as talented as I was, or been able to go to Cal and really have some of the greats. You know, at the time when we came in, we had guys like Javed Best, Chris Conti, Shane Vereen. You know, I played with Marv Jones, Deshaun Jackson, Keenan Allen. Right. I mean, Mitch Schwartz just won a Super Bowl. You have all these guys go through, and it's like, all right, well, you know, I got to keep up with them. You know, you have all this competition that makes you better. It's almost like when you look at LSU and how many guys they have at the combine. Yes. Like you have guys pushing guys, and that's what makes it fun. So when you get here, it's all just about, you know, the X's and O's, because they know you can play football.
You mentioned Cal, and you mentioned losing weight, and you're going through all those names. And back in the day, I used to call quite a few Cal games on the radio, and I remember going to Blondie's and Fat Slice and Top Dog. That is not an easy place to lose weight with all the food options you have there on Durant.
No doubt. I mean, you know, I came in and you had, you know, Tyson Olulu, and he was like, you go through the spots, and it's like, all right, well, these are the. I was like, hey, if he's eating this, I'm eating this. I mean, you know, you see him get drafted like, what was it, 10th or 11th overall? 10th. And he was a year ahead of me. I was like, I'm going first round. I was like, I'm just as good as Tyson.
Yeah.
What do you make of the Drew Brees announcement? Did you know it was coming? Did he reach out to you before he let the rest of the world know? Did you ever have a doubt?
Did I heckle him before? Yes. Did he tell me anything? No. Was I nervous? Not at all. Turn the page. I don't have to worry about Drew leaving until Drew decides to leave.
Right. And then obviously it begs the question of how that quarterback room shakes out and how important Teddy was to you guys last year when Drew went down to keep the wins piling up.
How important Teddy is. I mean, until he leaves, I'm a firm believer that they're all Saints until they leave us.
There you go.
My guy Mark had to put on a Baltimore jersey before. I was like, I guess he's not coming back.
What do you look for when people ask you to weigh in about defensive linemen and what's important and maybe what they should be watching here today? Is there anything that maybe stands out for you?
I mean, everybody gets excited about your 40. I mean, if you run an electric 40, you know, everybody in the world is going to talk about how fast he is. For me, it's that change of direction. You know, it's going to be your lateral drills. The L drill might be indicative of, you know, how well you can change direction and then show how explosive you are. You look at your broad jump. And then when it sort of goes in line with the tape from there. I need to know, like, just because you look good, can you play good?
Ooh. Right. What about, you know, we always hear the term, and for people watching that don't understand it, get off. And if you can improve your get up, is that a natural ability or is that something that you can dramatically improve over the course of your career?
I don't know about dramatically. I mean, everybody has a ceiling, everybody has a floor. You got to figure out what yours is. But you can definitely you can always improve. I feel like, you know, when I ran a 40 10 years ago, you know, I was just at the cusp of understanding who I was. Now sitting at, you know, at the end of year 9, headed into year 10, and you talk about, you know, was it 5 Pro Bowls later? You get better each and every year. You push yourself further each and every year, and you understand, you know, there's minor nuances you can tweak to make yourself a better player.
Right. All right, I got to ask. Let's say the Saints. You're going to go up to the suite and you're going to hang out with the Saints, and they're going to say, Cam, we got this 24th pick, man. What should we be doing here? What do you think the Saints ought to do with that selection?
I've never had to worry about where we draft. We have phenomenal draft picks.
Right.
You know, we talk about, you know, this last couple years of drafting. You talk about we picked up Marshawn Lattimore, Mike Thomas, Alvin Kamara. You know, you look at Andres Pete and the way he's turned out. You look at Tehran. We draft well.
You do.
Yep.
Yeah, you most definitely do.
I'm not going to say I'm pretty proud, but we draft well. You pick up Mike Thomas in the second round.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Pick up AK in the second or third round.
Yeah.
It speaks for itself.
Signing, you know, free agents that are just kind of popping around the league like Taysom Hill, and you see the kind of impact he can have.
Absolutely.
All right, Cam, we're looking forward to it.
So does that mean we undraft well? Because he was undrafted, right?
I believe he was.
He was, but you picked him up off
That's
waivers.
what I'm saying. How do you say that?
Waivers.
There we go.
Right.
Picked him up off.
There you go. Exactly. Using the waiver wire, I guess, appropriately. Cam, thank you so much. We look forward to the broadcast today. Out there on the field, it is defensive linemen, it is linebackers, and we are awfully excited to get our eyes on Isaiah Simmons. We'll get into that when we return here. It's Combine Today, presented by Verizon. Back on Combine today, presented by Verizon. There's Javon Kinlaw, made a lot of noise during the week of practices down at the Senior Bowl, just part of a very talented defensive line class, and that follows a very talented offensive line class, and Ben Barch from that offensive line group caught up with our Colleen Wolfe.
Out here repping the Johnnies. We got Ben Barch from St. John's, the only D3 guy here at the Combine. So obviously your story is a little bit different. Does it give you a little extra motivation kind of to prove yourself out here?
Yeah, absolutely, Colleen. I think coming from a small school, you kind of have a chip on your shoulder and you want to kind of prove a lot of people wrong. So absolutely.
So what has this whole experience been like for you?
It's been incredible. It's a huge blessing. It's really humbling. So it's a great opportunity that I've been given, and it's kind of a dream come true, to be honest.
So here you are at the Senior Bowl. I mean, I know you got hurt, but you were turning a lot of heads. I mean, you all of a sudden are on everybody's radar. So how was that, just being able to participate there and be there and compete?
It was awesome. It was a great experience. I had a lot of fun. Met a lot of great teammates and stuff down there, and learned a lot throughout the week. So had a blast. Yeah.
So also, I'm sure you had a blast here. I'm looking at look at you. You're traveling all over the place. So tell me about this.
Yeah, this is we basically studied in South Africa. Myself, Dan Greenheck, Jack Kemper, some teammates, and we spent 4 months there. And we took classes. We worked out. We got a gym membership. We traveled and road tripped. It was probably one of the best 4 months of my entire life.
It's on my list. I feel like I should go, especially now because it's got the endorsement from you. So we'll see what happens. I'll hit you up for some recs, okay?
Shop.
All right, so also we were looking through your stuff in college and just sort of the Benvolution of you. Tell me a little bit about each one of these guys.
You know, you come in as a tight end and you think you're going to be really good, and then you get asked eventually to switch positions, and yeah, I mean, offensive line, it's kind of a different mindset, and you know, I definitely didn't get more sad or depressed or anything. I was equally as happy throughout all four, I swear. So, yeah.
And the hair, I mean, the hair really got great, and you obviously had to gain weight to switch the positions. Yeah. So how did you do such a thing?
Well, it's funny you ask, Colleen. I did it through a lot of eating, and I think we have something here with us.
Making smoothies, perhaps, huh?
I think so,
Let's go over here where, oh my goodness, there's a smoothie station.
Oh my God.
All right, what's the deal here? Why these ingredients? Tell me about the smoothie that you would make yourself.
Well, you know, these are pretty healthy ingredients somewhat, and great for calories and protein, and getting ahead on your calorie intake in the morning. So
that's what I've been looking to do.
I can absolutely tell. You know, we're doing that. Let's go ahead and put it together.
All right, cool. So, is there a science to this? Do you always do the grits first, or no?
Not really.
Doesn't matter.
No.
You just throw it all in.
She's all gonna
the
get blended anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this a certain measurement, or?
We can just toss it all in if you want.
Cool.
Make a big one, maybe throw on the plate too. Okay. If you want, All right, you gotta put in the peanut butter.
I have a question here though. Like, why scrambled eggs? Why wouldn't you just put like the egg in?
I don't know. I was afraid of getting food poisoning.
Really?
To be honest.
Am I putting all of this in?
You can, as much as you want. You don't have to do it all.
Well, okay. I feel like that's gonna help the situation, so I'm gonna put it all in. Yeah, this is gonna be good. We're gonna get kicked out of the combine.
Yeah.
Okay, and scrambled eggs. Awesome. So we got grits, bananas, peanut butter, scrambled eggs, and then of course you're gonna top it off with some Gatorade.
Red Gatorade.
Because why not?
Why not?
Ew. This is disgusting. It looks horrible. Okay, yeah. So this blender, it works, and we're gonna try it out.
I'll give you the honors.
Okay, here we go. Smoothie extract, is that what we're gonna do here? I don't know. Get excited, everybody. The smoothie. All right. This is great. I feel like you tell me when.
It's probably good, yeah.
Okay. Whoa, hey now, this is a super
the Johnny
powerful
Special right here.
Smoothie maker, also known as a blender.
I'll pour yours first.
Thank you. What a gentleman.
Yes.
Okay, it's not actually a bad consistency. I thought it was going to be. It might be weird because it's warm though. Is this what temperature you would usually drink it at?
Typically, the eggs are typically warmer in the morning, causing more of a lukewarm, odd texture and temperature to it.
Okay, cool.
This will do.
So let's do it, shall we? We'll
take a knee, maybe.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Mm. It's actually not that bad.
Not that bad at all.
I'm not going to lie.
Not at all.
I'm not trying to get my calories up, but I'm also kind of hungry right now. So, I was thinking I was going to like contemplate my choices a little later, but wow, you're just going to crush that whole thing, huh? This is amazing. And now you too can make the smoothie at home. Guys, this has been a day. I'm going to go figure out what I'm doing, how I'm going to work this off later. Yes. Awesome stuff. Best of luck. Thanks for coming by, and can't wait to see what team you're on.
Wonderful. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cheers, everybody.
Well, I'm glad it was Colleen and not us. And Chris Long watching, pointing out that the blender from 1998. Hey, listen, Chris. You know, we all can't have the $700 professional football player. I gotta mash up rocks in my smoothie blender. So way to go, Colleen. And by the way, I heard some folks weren't really happy with her firing off that blender. Bucky, here's your top 5 linebackers. Isaiah Simmons leads the way at the top, and let's kind of lean into that because you mentioned it earlier as we get to Best of the Best presented by Verizon Fios and where people think he's going to play. Do we think we're going to see him back here tomorrow to do defensive back drills maybe as well?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how guys evaluate him. When I've talked to a number of guys said, oh, I think he's a linebacker. But then some linebacker coach wonder, is he going to be physical enough to go inside and really live that life each and every down? I think the biggest thing when it comes to Isaiah Simmons, he's a playmaker. But at the second level, you can see he can match it with tight ends. He can run and chase like nobody's business. He also is a terrific blitzer. Why wouldn't you want to at least start him out as an outside linebacker type?
Lance, agree?
Yeah, I don't think he's an inside linebacker. I mean, his instincts aren't there yet. His ability to find the fits and fit it in the way he needs to. But his diversity is definitely a positive. And I understand why coaches want to figure out what you do with him and then plug him into the right spots. You can't just have it as a nebulous, well, he's diverse. You just fit, he can do a lot of things. Well, you got to find out exactly what he is doing. But I think his versatility is really going to help. And he reminds me a little bit of Darius Leonard coming out. Yeah. A guy who can run and chase sideline to sideline, can rush the passer, can obviously drop in coverage, can man up on tight ends, can man up on certain wide receivers and running backs. So I think he has the same kind of diversity that Darius Leonard had when he was Rookie of the Year for the Colts.
Yeah, I was talking to someone last night that was in an interview with him and said just hit it out of the park. And you think not only are you combining all that talent, but with a football and a bright mind that's going to go out there and be able to do it at so many different spots. The one interesting thing is you think about the linebacker position, right, and how it changed and how all these teams started looking for these more athletic linebackers, lighter linebackers. Well, what happened? Everybody countered. Now you got these giant offensive linemen, these big-time running. Exactly, fullbacks, Derrick Henry, and now everyone's trying to figure out, okay, so now we got to go back. It'll be interesting to see how Isaiah Simmons fits into that puzzle and what position he ends up playing. Speaking of those giant offensive linemen, we mentioned they were here yesterday and arguably the top one again on somebody's list, more than a somebody. What am I trying to say? 2 or 3 different people, I believe, around these parts have Jedrick Wills as their number 1 offensive tackle, and he caught up with our Colleen Wolfe.
First team All-SEC. He loves roast beef, apparently, and his name is Jedrick Wills Jr. Welcome, and thank you for coming by.
No, definitely. Thank you for having me.
So, how did it go?
It was a great experience. Just a blessing to be here. Something you dream as a little kid, and now it's coming true. So,
what was the best part of the drills for you, or really the entire combine?
Really, just the entire combine. Mainly the whole week, just like seeing guys from high school that you kind of talked to a little bit but didn't play with. Now we're all meeting up again.
What was your biggest focus coming in? What did you really want to prove here?
Just want to prove that I was an athlete, prove that I was one of the best offensive tackles in this class. I believe I'm the best, and I have the confidence to do so, and I feel like I proved it today.
Do you really love roast beef?
So there's a shop back home called Dad's Favorites. It's one of my favorite places. I get it every single time I go home, and they have a roast beef that's pretty good.
So what is a roast beef sandwich? Just what is it? How does it come?
They have a special type of cheese on it. Don't know what it is.
Special cheese? I'm in. Tell me more.
Slow cooked roast beef, a special type of bread. Something that they make. It's amazing.
This sounds delicious. I'm starving. I'm sure you are because you actually just worked out. But
you're not wrong.
Let's talk about you. And playing for Saban. What's he like? He seems really warm and fuzzy.
So he can be hard at times, but this is a picture that we see on the daily. He's always making jokes and laughing and smiling, so people don't see that side of him.
What was your experience like at Bama? I mean, if you could kind of just sum it up and what you learned.
It was special. It was a great opportunity. I'm glad I went there. Got to be around some of the best players in the country every single day. Then of course being with the GOAT.
Well, Saban and another GOAT, Bill Belichick, we know they're friends, and you tweet a whole lot about the Patriots. So, what should Tom Brady do? Let's talk about it.
Do what's best for him. Have been a Patriots fan growing up. That's got to change now that I'm here. So I'm an NFL football fan. I'll put that out there. Up to him, whatever he feels is best.
You have a gut feeling of what might happen? There's no wrong answer.
He's got to come back. He's got to. I feel like he has more left in the tank, and I'm sure he probably wants to go to the Super Bowl again and win another one. So
smart. Okay, fine. You're not gonna go with a team here on that answer. Fine. I know that you played some hoops too. So football, basketball. What was your first love? I know that's a loaded question at the combine.
No, my first love was football. My mom threw me in it when I was around 7, just like hitting people. Then grew up playing basketball, multiple sports, and I thought I was gonna be a point guard. Then I got big.
Too small. You're too small.
So. Hoop dreams went away.
How did it kind of help you with your football game? It feels like there's not like a ton of overlap in terms of like being an offensive lineman and basketball, but how did it help?
Mainly just being light on your feet, quickness, things like that can just help you keep you on your feet and keep you moving. Very fluid.
Okay, I like that. So everybody is obviously here critiquing your athletic ability, but we want to critique your dancing because that's what we do over here, the hard-hitting stuff.
Okay.
And I know that we've seen a couple videos of you dancing, and this is one of them. It's one of those great videos. So why don't you tell America what kind of dancer you are? How would you break this down?
This is probably a good image. I don't know how long ago this was. I don't even have any facial hair. It's crazy. I forgot all about this video. Just like to have fun.
What do you want teams to know about you?
They're going to get a competitor, a very smart player who's going to come every day to work hard and be a leader.
Well, you can play, you can dance, and soon you will be drafted. Thank you so much for coming by. This is awesome. Jedrick Wills, know his name, everybody.
Thank you.
So Jedrick Wills there with Colleen, and now our Cynthia Freeland with us, predictive analytics expert, as she projects where these tackles might land or maybe should land, according to you.
We're going to go
is that what we're going to do?
We're going to should, right?
Where they should go.
The rules are there's no trades. No, it's not a mock draft yet.
It's where you would put these players.
Where they add the most value given the current teams that we currently have today, not projecting too far into the future.
So let's start with the I would say probably the man of the hour. Tristan Wirfs certainly lit up the combine last night. Where would you put him?
Well, I actually have him going to the Lions at number 3.
Okay.
If you think about an extreme need to keep Matthew Stafford out from pressure, this would be a huge addition to this team. I know a lot of people are thinking defense first for the Lions, but this one actually added just a ton of value. And Taylor Decker, remember, is heading into his 5th-year option. He was the 18th graded tackle last year per PFF, so that's an area where they could upgrade.
Well, and also, remember, that's what everybody is saying is kind of that sweet spot for a team to trade up to go get to
Told
a
you,
ton
and
by law.
in my rules, there was no rules.
Maybe
the rules
but
were
I'm
no
just
trades.
saying, maybe Tristan will end up on the Lions because they will slide back in the draft a little bit. How about the man that was just with Colleen Wolfe, Jedrick Wills?
Well, Alabama products often find themselves on teams with Belichick connection. So Brian Flores, to me, might be circling Jedrick Wills at number 5. The Dolphins allowed pressure on almost 33% of dropbacks last season. So this one is a kind of a no-brainer. That ranks 31st in the NFL. So kind of adding to this, to the value here, they have so many draft picks. This would be a good one to really kick it off strong.
Bucky, seems to be some debate about just going back to Wirfs, tackle versus guard. Does that sit with you? Does he look like a tackle all day to you, or would you think about kicking him inside?
No, I think he's a tackle all day. I think anything, he's trying to figure out, is he a right tackle or a left tackle? He is athletic enough to play on the edges. He has to feel miserably before I would think about moving him inside the guard.
All right, thank you, Cynthia. There you go. A couple spots. Lions, Wirfs. Alabama sends Jedrick Wills to another Belichick disciple, Brian Flores. We'll be back to wrap it up and give you our pro performance projections next on Scouting Combine Today. back on Combine Today, presented by Verizon. Here, Rich Eisen tweeting out that this year's Run Rich Run 40 is done. Did it this morning. Don't blink, but you want to tune in tomorrow for the results and a couple surprise guests that helped Rich run that 40. Let's go to Pro Performances presented by Nike. Bucky, Pro Performance that you expect to see out here tonight.
I expect to see Yuta Gross-Matos from Penn State really dominate the combine. And I think he's a guy that kind of reminds me a little bit of Jason Pierre-Paul, the young version. I think if he kind of flashes, I think we will begin to hear the buzz in the conversation about him becoming not the first pass rusher, but maybe the second one off the board.
What do you got?
I'm going to go with Marlin Davidson from Auburn. You know, I know the talk's going to be about Derek Brown, but Marlin Davidson plays three technique. He plays big defensive end, and he's really agile. I mean, he's a big dude, as you can see in the clips, but he's an agile big dude. He's an athletic guy, and I think the combine's really going to be nice to him when it comes to getting out in the out on the turf and moving around and showing what he can do for his size.
I'm going to go A.J. Epinesa. And again, maybe recency bias. Watched him absolutely wreck USC in the Holiday Bowl, and obviously folks in the Big Ten have seen Epinesa wreck them throughout his college career. Someone who really has been trained to do this since a little kid. His dad, Epi, of course, a great football player at Iowa, and just sounds like someone that absolutely loves to play. We heard Cam Jordan say it when he was sitting with us. With that position, you got to want to go get that quarterback, and Epinesa certainly loves doing it. Looking forward to seeing him out here tonight. All right, Bucky. All right, Lance, big thanks to Cam Jordan and Cynthia Freeland. Big thanks to New Era, the official outfitter of the 2020 NFL Scouting Combine. And we will get out of the way as the defensive linemen set to run their 40s. Keep it right here for Combine Today Live, presented by Verizon.